My relatives shut me out of the anniversary celebration, branded me a lowly maid. Little did they know I owned the upscale venue hosting their party. The email arrived on a Thursday morning at 9:23 a.m. My brother Daniel's words pierced through the screen like shards of glass. Anniversary gala this coming Friday at Luminaire. Celebrating mom and dad's 30th, black tie required. 8 p.m. Don't be late. I read it 3 times, searching for anything that suggested my presence was desired. Searching for acknowledgement that I was part of this equation. Searching for a simple hope you can join us. Silence. I scrolled through months of electronic correspondence. Planning for my niece's quinceañera. Arranging Easter brunch. Every thread had included my name somewhere, even when my contributions were routinely dismissed. This time, though, nothing but an afterthought. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Do I need to confirm attendance? I wrote. The response arrived within seconds. My mother's cold efficiency. This gathering is for core family members, darling. I trust you comprehend. Core family members. The phrase landed like a punch to the sternum. For 7 years, I'd been maintaining their homes through my domestic service company, watching them ascend prestigious career paths while I wiped down their kitchen counters. Daniel had established his architectural firm. My sister Veronica operated her successful public relations consultancy. And me. I was their humiliation. Their secret shame. Since when do I fall outside that definition? I typed back. Let's not create drama, my father interjected. This is an exclusive venue. Appearances matter considerably. Tears stung my eyes. 26 years of existing as the overlooked child, the letdown, the one they referenced as our youngest while carefully avoiding career discussions. But this crossed a line because Luminaire wasn't just any exclusive venue. It belonged to me. The precise instant my relatives wrote me off is seared into my consciousness. I was 20 years old, withdrawing from university after 3 semesters. Financial aid had evaporated and tuition was impossibly beyond reach. My mother sat rigidly in our living room, disapproval radiating from her posture. So you're simply surrendering, she'd stated flatly. Daniel and Veronica persevered. They discovered solutions. Translation, they'd accepted family money. Resources my parents refused me because I'd selected the state school over their preferred institution. If you refuse to prioritize your future, we won't fund your mistakes, my father had proclaimed. So I found work. Started maintaining commercial spaces during overnight shifts. My father encountered me once, collecting waste bins at his corporate office. His expression, pure mortification, remains etched in memory. You're essentially gutter labor, Daniel had sneered at Thanksgiving that year. The label persisted. Every holiday gathering brought commentary. How's the housekeeping venture? Delivered with contempt. Ensure your hands are sanitized before handling dinner, spoken as though I carried disease. Veronica demonstrated more subtlety but deeper cruelty. She'd discuss her accounts, her international travel, then pivot toward me with manufactured kindness. And your situation? Still pursuing your activities? A decade of endurance. I'd constructed my domestic service enterprise from absolutely nothing. 7 staff members now. Agreements with 15 commercial properties. Every dollar saved, every investment calculated precisely. But I'd never disclosed my secondary venture, the venue. I'd acquired the struggling Luminaire 3 years prior through a limited liability corporation, transformed it completely, recruited an award-winning culinary director. The ownership remained carefully anonymous. And now my relatives were planning their celebration there. Without me present. The irony tasted simultaneously acrid and satisfying. I contacted my closest friend, Charisse, once my trembling subsided. She'd witnessed every indignity my relatives had inflicted since 7th grade. They did what? Her voice cracked with incredulity. Please tell me you're crashing this party, she demanded. Something better, I responded, strategy crystallizing. I'll be present, just not as they anticipate. I'm working their event. Waiting their table personally. Let's discover if they even notice me in service attire. Charisse paused. That's simultaneously brilliant and potentially devastating. Are you certain? Was I? My therapist, Dr. Chen, had spent 20 months helping me establish protective boundaries. You cannot dictate their actions, she'd explained in our recent session. But you control your reactions and your exposure to their toxicity. This felt like both boundary and breaking point. I need visual confirmation, I told Charisse. I need to witness their authentic selves when they perceive me as merely staff. Perhaps it'll provide the resolution to finally disconnect. Or perhaps it'll wound deeper than anything previous, Charisse cautioned. Promise you'll contact me afterward. Regardless of outcome. I promise. Sleep proved impossible that night. I replayed every celebration, every graduation they'd attended for my siblings while missing my GED ceremony. Every Christmas where my gifts were thoughtless, often cleaning products, literally, while Veronica received designer accessories and Daniel received premium electronics. I contemplated Dad's anniversary. 30 years of marriage. Significant milestone. Worth commemorating. Worth excluding their daughter over. My phone illuminated at 2:47 a.m. Mother's message in the group chat, anticipating Friday eagerly. Daniel, bring Melissa. Veronica, bring Marcus. Wonderful having our complete family united. Complete family. I wasn't worth clarification. I captured the screenshot. Preserved it. Documentation. Then I began strategizing. Friday arrived with overcast skies and steely resolve. I reached Luminaire at 10 a.m., entering through the service entrance. My operations director, Antoine, registered surprise at my appearance. Boss, I believed you were taking today off. Antoine was a 60-year-old Haitian professional who'd managed premier establishments across 3 continents. I'd recruited him from a competitor by offering partnership equity and operational autonomy. Plans shifted, I stated. I need to be front of house tonight. Serving directly. His eyebrows elevated. You wish to wait tables? May I inquire why? I'd never shared family matters with restaurant staff. Professional and personal remained completely separated. Personal business. There's a reservation for 6 arriving at 8. Surname Thompson. I want that section. Antoine studied my expression. He possessed the perception that came from decades managing high-stakes environments. This sounds potentially complicated. It's essential, I replied. He nodded deliberately. Then we'll ensure absolute perfection. Whatever you require. The afternoon was spent reviewing every element. The menu, seasonal offerings, farm-to-table dishes that had garnered recognition in 4 culinary publications. The beverage program meticulously selected, including vintages exceeding my mother's annual car payment. The atmosphere, ambient illumination, live jazz quartet, fresh floral arrangements at every setting. My venue. My standards. My moment. At 5 p.m., I changed into service uniform. Black trousers, crisp white shirt, black waistcoat, silver tie. I secured my braids into a professional updo. Wore contact lenses rather than my typical eyewear. Applied understated cosmetics. I examined my reflection in the staff restroom. Professional. Anonymous. Perfect. You don't have to proceed with this, I whispered to myself. You could deny them service. You could reveal your ownership and watch them squirm. But that wouldn't suffice. I needed to observe them. Needed to see the casual cruelty they display toward someone they considered beneath their station. Needed confirmation that my feelings of erasure were justified. They arrived at 8:07 p.m., a picture-perfect family portrait. Father wore his charcoal suit, the imported one. Mother displayed the sapphire necklace my grandmother bequeathed her, the one she'd promised me before deciding I lacked appreciation for heirlooms. Veronica looked radiant in an emerald gown, her partner Marcus beside her in an impeccable tuxedo. Daniel and his wife Melissa completed the tableau, both appearing as though they'd stepped from a society magazine. I positioned myself near the reception desk, pulse thundering. Antoine greeted them warmly. "Reservation for Thompson," father announced, voice resonating with self-satisfaction. "Special occasion tonight." "Congratulations," Antoine responded smoothly. "This way, please." He caught my gaze briefly. "A question there." I signaled once. He guided them to the table I'd specifically designated, a prime location with exceptional ambience, positioned where I could easily monitor from the kitchen passage. I allowed 10 minutes for them to settle, examine menus, commence their performance of familial happiness. Then I approached, order tablet ready, wearing a courteous smile. "Good evening," I said, modulating my voice slightly higher than normal. "My name is Natasha, and I'll be attending to you tonight. May I begin with beverages or starters?" Mother glanced up first. Her gaze passed across me without the slightest recognition. "Yes, we'll have the Domaine Rousseau, the 2016. That bottle cost $800. I recorded it without reaction. Father didn't even acknowledge my presence. "Bring us the prix menu. All 6 courses. We're commemorating my anniversary." "Wonderful choice," I responded. "Congratulations, sir." Daniel glanced at me the way one might glance at wallpaper. "Is it accurate that your seafood is sourced daily from coastal waters?" "Yes, sir. Today's selection arrived from Maine this morning." "Excellent. We'll start with the raw bar assortment," he stated, immediately returning to his conversation without further acknowledgement. I stood there one additional moment. Waiting for someone to pause, to scrutinize, to say, "You seem familiar." Nothing. I was invisible. I delivered their wine with controlled movements. Performed the tasting ceremony for father. He swirled, inhaled, sampled, nodded curtly. Acceptable. The bottle exceeded my first month's rent. As I poured for everyone, their conversation flowed around me as though I were vapor. Mother raised her glass. "To Robert's devotion. 30 years with this remarkable man. Our family is everything." They touched glasses, beamed. Veronica leaned forward, voice projecting. "What makes this even more special? Having everyone together. Our whole family." I nearly fumbled the bottle. Recovered. Nobody noticed. "Well, nearly everyone," Daniel interjected, and my heart arrested. But then he continued, "Wish Uncle Frank were still alive to see this, Dad. He always admired your commitment." They were toasting to family. Complete family. While I stood right there. Invisible. The starters emerged. Raw oysters, lobster bisque, pan-seared foie gras. I described each dish with professional detachment while my interior twisted. Father tasted his bisque, made an approving sound, never acknowledged my effort. Mother returned her foie gras claiming it was underseasoned. It wasn't I'd watched Chef Pierre prepare it flawlessly, but I smiled and apologized. "Quite disappointing," Mother muttered to Veronica as I departed. "Underseasoned at an establishment of this caliber." In the kitchen, Antoine touched my arm. "You're trembling. Take a moment." "I'm fine," I said, voice fracturing. "No, you're not." He handed me water. "Whatever they've done, whoever they are, they're not worth this." But they were. They were my family. The people who should have loved me unconditionally but had spent years teaching me that love was conditional. Earned. And I'd failed that examination by being poor, by cleaning for survival, by existing outside their polished image. I returned for the main course. Dry-aged beef Wellington, truffle-crusted halibut, roasted duck breast. I positioned each plate carefully, recited the descriptions I'd memorized. Father carved into his Wellington, chewed, swallowed, looked directly at me and stated, "Inform the chef this is underwhelming. I've had superior at establishments half this price." The comment nearly shattered me. I knew that preparation, grass-fed beef from a ranch I'd personally visited, wrapped in house-made pâté and puff pastry. Chef Pierre had executed it perfectly. But I smiled and said, "I'll convey your feedback, sir." In the kitchen, Chef Pierre overheard Father's comment. His expression darkened. That man couldn't distinguish quality from cardboard. "Who is he?" "Nobody," I whispered. "His nobody." But that was false. He was my father. The man who'd taught me to swim. Who'd once called me his sunshine before I'd disappointed him by being ordinary. Before I'd embarrassed him by being poor. I returned for the subsequent course. As I reached for Mother's finished plate, she pulled it back sharply. "Careful. These plates likely cost more than your weekly wages." The words struck like a slap. Veronica laughed. "Mother, please. She's simply doing her job." "Barely," Father muttered. "The service here is substandard. I expected excellence for these prices." I wanted to scream. Wanted to slam their invoice down and reveal that I owned every napkin, every utensil, every crystal stem they were touching. But I remained frozen, holding plates, being invisible. Melissa was the only one who met my eyes. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Everything has been exquisite." It was the first kindness any of them had shown. I nodded, throat constricted. Back at the table, Veronica was displaying photographs on her device. "This is the location for our holiday gala next month. 300 guests, premium everything. It's going to be extraordinary." That's our Veronica, Mother glowed. Always orchestrating something magnificent. She inherited my organizational talents. And Daniel inherited my analytical mind, Father added. Partner in his firm before 35. Remarkable. They circulated the table celebrating each other's accomplishments. Nobody mentioned the absent daughter. The one who wasn't invited. The one serving their meal. Then Mother said something that changed everything. "You know what's unfortunate? We have this beautiful family, these accomplished children, and then there's, well, we don't discuss that disappointment anymore, do we?" "Mother," Veronica said, but she was smiling slightly. "I'm serious. Some children simply lack the determination, the ambition." My hands shook as I cleared dessert plates. They'd ordered everything: flourless chocolate torte, vanilla bean panna cotta, the chef's signature lemon tart. Mother complained the torte was too dense. Father called the portions pretentious. Daniel checked his watch twice, sighing as though he had more important obligations. "Should we mention it?" Veronica said suddenly, her voice dropping to a stage whisper that carried perfectly to where I stood at the nearby service station. "Mention what?" Mother leaned in conspiratorially. Veronica glanced around right past me, ensuring privacy. "Marcus and I were driving through the industrial district on Riverside Avenue last week. You know, where that convenience store and sketchy dry cleaner are?" My blood ran cold. My company's office was on Riverside Avenue. "We saw her," Veronica continued, emerging from one of those storefronts carrying supplies. Wearing this dreadful company uniform, hair completely disheveled. Marcus didn't recognize her, but I knew immediately. "Oh dear," Mother breathed. "You didn't allow her to see you, correct?" "Of course not. We drove straight past. But honestly, Mother, it's been a decade. 10 years, and she's still scrubbing floors. Eventually, you must accept that some people simply have limitations. Limitations, father repeated, testing the word. More charitable than my assessment. I attempted to assist her, he continued. Offered to make introductions, arrange interviews at respectable firms. She refused everything. That was a fabrication. He'd made one call to an associate who'd offered me a receptionist position at minimum wage. When I'd explained that I earned significantly more operating my own enterprise, he'd called me ungrateful. The stubbornness is what frustrates me most, Mother said. She could have accepted our guidance, our connections, made something respectable of herself. Instead, she chose that. Daniel spoke up. You remember what Dad said when he encountered her at his office building that evening? He said, I have 2 children now. The third one ceased to exist when she accepted mediocrity as her standard. The words hit me like physical blows. I gripped the service station edge, knuckles white. Daniel, Melissa said quietly. That's cruel. It's truthful, he replied. Sometimes truth is cruel. Some people are destined for success, others for service. That's simply reality. I made my decision. I walked to their table with their check, placed it in the center. Father picked it up, his eyes widening slightly. $1,400 for what we received. This is absurd. I apologize you feel that way, sir, I said, my voice steady now. However, I believe you'll find the prices clearly indicated on the menu you ordered from. Mother waved her hand dismissively. Just process the payment, girl. We have other engagements. Actually, I said, before I process your payment, I need to tell you something. Father looked up, irritated. What? The service tonight, which you called substandard. The Wellington you called underwhelming. The foie gras that was underseasoned. The portions that were pretentious. I paused, letting each word land. I'll be certain to inform the owner about your concerns. Good, Mother snapped. Someone needs to know their staff is inadequate. Oh, she knows. I removed my service apron slowly, deliberately. She's known for quite some time that some people will never recognize quality, even when it's directly before them. Daniel squinted at me. Wait, why are you? I'm the owner, I said clearly. My name is Natasha Thompson. I'm your daughter. Your sister. And for the past 3 hours, I've been invisible to you, just as I've been invisible my entire existence. The silence that descended over the table was absolute. Mother's face cycled through shock, disbelief, then something ugly. Embarrassment. Natasha, Veronica whispered. What? What are you doing here? I work here. I own here. I gestured around the venue. Every table, every chair, every piece of art on these walls. I purchased this establishment 3 years ago, renovated it completely, built it into the venue that was featured in Bon Appetit last spring. The one you selected for your celebration. Without me. Father stood abruptly. This is preposterous. You're a housekeeper. I'm a business owner, I corrected. 2 businesses, actually. The domestic service company you mock. It generates $600,000 annually. This venue. We cleared $250,000 in profit last year. But you've never inquired. Never cared. You simply assumed the gutter labor could never be anything more. You're lying, Mother said, but her voice wavered. If you owned this place, you would have disclosed it. Would I? I asked. When precisely? During the family gatherings where you introduce me as our youngest and immediately change topics. Or perhaps at Christmas when you gift me cleaning products while Veronica receives jewelry. Tell me, Mother, when should I have shared my success with people who've made abundantly clear I'm an embarrassment? We never stated that, Daniel interjected. You said it tonight. At this table. You said Dad told people he has 2 children now because I ceased to exist when I accepted mediocrity. You said some people are destined for success, others for service. I was standing right there, Daniel. Right there. And you didn't even see me. Melissa covered her mouth. Oh my God. Natasha, we didn't know. That's precisely the point, I cut her off. You didn't know because you didn't see. None of you did. Antoine appeared at my shoulder. Boss, is everything satisfactory? Boss, father repeated, face reddening. She's fabricating this. Some revenge fantasy for not being invited tonight. I assure you she's not, Antoine said calmly. Natasha purchased this establishment 3 years ago. She's been an exemplary owner, fair, innovative, and deeply committed to excellence. Now, if you'll excuse us, we have other guests to attend to. Mother's face had drained of color. Natasha, darling, I believe there's been a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding, I said. You excluded me from this celebration because you were ashamed of me. Because in your perception, I'm merely gutter labor. Someone who doesn't fit your image of success. Well, guess what? I don't need your image anymore. Veronica reached for my hand. I stepped back. Don't. You laughed when Mother called me a disappointment. You drove past me on Riverside and hid rather than acknowledge your own sister. You don't get to touch me now. That's not fair, Veronica protested. You're taking everything out of context. Am I? I pulled out my phone, opened the group chat, and read aloud. This gathering is for core family members, darling. I trust you comprehend. That's what Mother wrote when I asked about tonight. Core family. As though I was adopted. As though I don't share your DNA. The surrounding tables had gone quiet. Other diners were observing now, the drama unfolding like dinner theater. Lower your voice, Father hissed. You're creating a scene. I'm creating a scene. I laughed, bitter and sharp. I've been silent for 26 years. I've absorbed every insult, every dismissive remark, every forgotten birthday and excluded holiday. I've watched you celebrate Daniel's firm and Veronica's consultancy while barely acknowledging my existence. And now you want me quiet. This isn't the appropriate venue, Mother said, eyes darting to other diners. But it's the perfect venue. It's my venue. Let me tell you what happens now. I straightened my shoulders. You're going to pay your bill. The full $1,400, including the automatic 22% gratuity I'm adding for my server's excellent service. Then you're going to leave. And you're never going to contact me again. Natasha, please, Veronica stood. Can we discuss this somewhere private? No. Because you know what I realized tonight? I don't want to discuss it. I've been trying to communicate with you for years, and you've never listened. You've never seen me. So why would now be different? Daniel tried a different approach. Look, if we hurt your feelings, we apologize. But you must understand, we didn't recognize you. You looked different in that uniform. I looked different. My voice rose. I looked exactly like myself. You just never bothered to actually look at me. Do you know how many family dinners I've attended where you've talked over me, interrupted me, dismissed my opinions? I've been invisible for so long that wearing a server's uniform didn't change anything. Melissa was crying quietly. She was newer to the family, had only married Daniel 3 years ago. For what it's worth, she said softly, I'm sorry. I didn't know any of this history, but that doesn't excuse not seeing you tonight. It was the first genuine apology. I nodded at her. Thank you. So that's it, Father said, standing now. You're severing ties over one missed invitation? One. The word came out strangled. You think this is about one celebration? This is about a lifetime of being told I'm not good enough. This is about every achievement you've dismissed, every dream you've mocked, every time you've made me feel small. Let me tell you a story, I said, voice breaking now. When I was 20 and left university, do you remember what you told me, Dad? His face was stone. I told you the truth, that you were wasting your potential. You told me I was worthless. You said if I couldn't even complete university, I'd never amount to anything. You said you were ashamed to call me your daughter. The tears came now, hot and angry. I was 20 years old, and my father told me I was worthless. I was trying to motivate you, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. You destroyed me. I spent years believing I was exactly what you said, worthless. I built this business, this life, in spite of you. Every success I've achieved has been despite your voice in my head telling me I wasn't good enough. Mother stood, reaching for me. Natasha, honey, we love you. We've always loved you. No. I stepped back. You love the idea of loving me. You love telling people you have 3 children. But you don't love me because if you did, you would have seen me tonight. You would have recognized your own daughter standing 2 feet away. This is emotional manipulation, Daniel said. You're acting like we're monsters because we didn't recognize you in disguise. I wasn't in disguise. I was in a uniform. Working the same way I've been working my entire adult life while you all climbed ladders I was never invited to. I pulled out their bill again, held it out. $1,400. That's what this dinner cost. Do you know what it cost me? Everything. It cost me the last shred of hope that my family might actually see me someday. Veronica was crying now too. We can fix this. As a family. We can work through this. We're not a family, I said quietly. We're people who share DNA. Family doesn't exclude each other. Family doesn't mock each other's livelihoods. Family doesn't stand by while one member is called a disappointment. Antoine returned with the payment terminal. Father snatched it, inserted his card, jabbed the buttons. The transaction processed. We're leaving, he announced. And when you're ready to apologize for this embarrassing display, you know where to find us. I won't be apologizing, I said. Or finding you. Goodbye. They left in silence. The venue slowly returned to its normal rhythm, though several diners stopped by afterward to offer support. You're incredibly brave, one gentleman said. I wish I had your courage. But I didn't feel brave. I felt shattered. Antoine closed the venue early at my request. We sat in the empty dining room, me still in my server's uniform, him with 2 glasses of bourbon. You did the right thing, he said. Did I? I just demolished my entire family on the dining room floor. They demolished your family years ago. You just finally acknowledged it. I called Charisse like I'd promised. She arrived 15 minutes later, found me crying in the office. Oh, honey, she said, wrapping me in her arms. I'm so sorry. I thought it would feel satisfying, I sobbed. Showing them. Proving them wrong. But it just hurts. Because you still love them. That's the tragedy of toxic families. The love doesn't just disappear. 4 days later, Veronica texted. We need to talk. Please. I didn't respond. Mother called 23 times. I blocked her number. Father sent an email. You owe us an apology for your unprofessional behavior. I didn't reply. 10 days after the dinner, I received a letter from Melissa. I can't speak for the others, she wrote. But I see you now. I'm sorry I didn't before. You deserved better. You deserve better. I framed that letter. Last month, I sold the venue. Too many memories haunted those walls. I'm opening a new establishment across town. Fresh start, new concept. My domestic service business is thriving. I purchased a condominium. Adopted a cat. Started dating someone who finds my work ethic attractive, not embarrassing. I see my therapist weekly now. Do you regret confronting them? Dr. Chen asked recently. No, I said. I regret needing to. Sometimes I drive past the venue, see new owners operating it successfully. Sometimes I wonder if my relatives think of me, if they've told people the truth about that night, or if they've rewritten it in their minds. I hope they remember. I hope it haunts them. I hope they see servers now and wonder if one might be someone they should have loved better. Because the saddest part wasn't that they didn't recognize me in a uniform. It's that they never really knew me at all. And now they never will. If you've ever felt invisible to people who should see you, leave a comment below. Your story matters. You matter. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more real stories about family betrayal and finding your own worth. The end came not with reconciliation, but with acceptance. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from people who can't see your value. Sometimes family is something you build, not something you're born into. And sometimes the only closure you get is the closure you give yourself.